Alright everybody, welcome to my first tutorial. Today we're going to discuss just how to do the enter-exit animation from player to vehicle. A lot of you might have been searching for quite a while to find something like this, because I know I was in the same boat. I managed to figure it out and I'm more than happy to share. So today, that's what we're going to do. Alright, first I want you to look at the file if you've downloaded it. You should have this highly accurate Jeepish thing here and this little stick man. Now I made the stick man in Unity, okay, just using basic shapes, and you can see that, you know, up is up, Z is forward, X is right, and that's the goal. That's what you want. But if you look at this Jeep, which I made in Blender, see that's not the case. So if you're using transform.translate, so like I am, and using vector3.forward, it's going to create some funky behaviors. Alright, you don't want that. So what you're going to do, you can either go to your base file, like Blender, and fix the axes, or you can do what I do and just go to your model, right click on the Jeep here, and click Create Empty. Alright? And then I want you to rename it, something that won't get you confused. We're going to do car rig here. Alright? Once you've done that, I want you to take car rig and place it just above the Jeep model. Okay? Now you see, it kept its origin, but the transform's still wrong, the rotation. So I want you to go up here, fix it, zero it out, and then put the Jeep back in it. What this does is it makes, even though your Jeep came in wrong, you click on the car rig and it's just how it's supposed to be. Easy fix. Don't think it costs much on performance, and it is the key to this entire animation process. Alright? Because for the character, you don't actually want him to get in and out of the car. You want it to look like he's getting in and out of the car. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I want you to do the same thing we just did to the Jeep to the armature, okay? Just right click on it, create an empty. I want you to come up here and let's name it player rig. Alright. I want you to take player rig, put it just above the armature, and then make sure the rotations are 0. And then take the armature and put it into the rig. So now, this guy can be controlled by the rig. Alright? Control Z that back out. So, in your scripts folder, you'll find a player and car control. So go ahead and drag those on now. I'm going to grab these separate ones. You won't have these. These are just so I don't overwrite the ones you will be using. Grab car and player. Alright. And if you press play, it's nothing fancy, but you'll see they both move now. Okay? However you would like them to. But they move at the same time, and we don't want that. So that's where we're going to start. First thing we're going to do, we're going to open up those files. Alright, and give your Mono Develop a moment to open, or Visual Studio if that's what you're using. And I want you to just add a public bool can move for the player. We're going to leave that to true because we want to move our player. And then down in the update, I want you to do if Mono Develop has this cool double tab feature that I like. Then I want you to just put if can move, so that he'll only do these things if that's true. Alright. Control X to cut that, Control V to paste it. There we go. Let's do the same for the car. Okay, we're going to just add public bool can drive equals false, because we don't want it to drive unless we're in it, right? So we'll go to if, uh-oh, there we go, if, and you need the these. If you don't have the double tap feature, just do it the old-fashioned way, it's fine. But if can drive, and if I'm going too slow, I apologize, guys. I am legally blind, so just be patient. We'll get through this together. And I'm going to Control X and Control P. There we go. So now the car. Let's go back to Unity. Let's just test those. If we press play now you can see our player moves and the car does not, which is exactly what we want. Alright. Alright, guys. We're ready to rock and roll on this thing. What I've done is I've kind of put the camera down over the truck, and I've taken my player and kind of put him where I'd want him to start getting in the car. So you can kind of hit player rig, give him a 90-degree Y rotation facing the car, and just kind of drag him. Where would you be when you start opening your car? I think here is good. I usually try to line up the left hand with the door handle. It'll be about there. And that is where we'll start this animation. Alright. Now for me, it's much easier just to do the door, because it's an easy, quick animation. So let's click on car rig. Okay. Now down here on animation, if you don't have this window, by the way, you can hit window and go down to animation and just dock it where you want. Let me reselect that. And I want to create an animation. Oh, I didn't select car rig. Okay. And let's call this open door. Alright. Once you get to that, go to the timeline. Click the half-second mark. And now expand car rig, expand Jeep, click door D, and then press E on your keyboard to bring up the rotation tools, or click under assets here on the rotation icon. Okay. And we're just going to take the blue line here and swing this door out. I'm going to say it opens this far. You're free to choose whatever you want. And that's a door animation. That's the easy part. So the door can swing, and that is done. So go into your assets down here in the project panel and find that animation. And just click loop time, because we don't want the door to flap in the breeze when you're trying to open it. Alright? Alright. So now we have our door. Let's click on player rig and start this animation. Now for me, it's easier to get rid of the door. Some people like to open the door, but I'm just going to click car rig and expand to the door and just click the mesh renderer in the inspector, so it's not in my way. Again, make sure that your recording is off for that. You don't want to add that as part of your animation. Alright, then I'm going to collapse that. I'm going to click back on player rig and I'll start this animation. So now I like to switch the camera to here. And for time's sake, I'm going to make this just simple. Not complex at all. But I'll show you what we're doing, okay? The secret to this is these empties we made. Okay, we don't actually want to animate our armature. We want to animate the rig. Okay? So click your player rig and create. and we're going to do enter car. Alright? Once that's complete, pick a spot on the timeline. I'm going to go with, I think it's 30. And I know the first thing that all of us do is reach for that door handle. Okay? So, we're going to find the spine joint here in the armature. We're going to click the E button. Did I hit neck? Oh. Okay. Spine. Alright, well, the spine joint. Then we're just going to lean forward a little bit. Okay. We're going to go into the spine joint and look for the left arm. And I'm just going to rotate that. First, zero out, because he kind of has his arms at an angle. So, I'm going to zero out the Z in the hierarchy here, which allows me to get a nice X rotation like this. You know, keep in mind where that door is going to be. Again, some people like to keep the door in at this point. I prefer this way. And once you go into the joint arm, you'll find joint elbow. So we'll make that like so on the X. Actually, it's doing crazy stuff. Really only want the X, guys. There we go. So like that. Okay, if you want to be fancy, you can go down here to the wrist and actually make his wrist the proper way. Okay, it's all up to you guys. This is all open for interpretation. Many trial and errors. I mean, if you want to make him do a barrel roll over the door into the car, that'd be cool, actually. But, so once he's reached for the door, go, either the next step or two after that. And I'm just going to start straightening stuff back out, like his spine. So go back up to spine. We're going to get rid of that rotation, because at this point we've opened the door. But you have also turned a little bit, and you kind of take that step back around your door. So we're going to move the armature. And this is the secret to this, guys. You are not moving the player rig. You're moving the armature. Okay? Just click the W or the icon under edit. We're going to move a little bit back. Don't worry about the leg animations. You can fill those in. Move a little bit back. And then we're going to press E. We're going to give him a slight rotation here. Okay? And at any time, you can scrub through and see your progress. You know, so we've reached in. Okay, and because we didn't keep the foot positions when we first started, he's starting to turn right away, but that's okay. You guys get the picture, I hope. Okay, you can animate this part however you want. And usually after that, there's that little period of time where you step around. So I'm going to keep rotating him. You're now stepping around the car, the door, like so. Okay. E for rotate, like this. Where you get ready to get into the car. After that, you typically do you lift your leg and get in the car. Now, for our sake, I'm just gonna put him in the car. But yeah, you would do this just step by step with keyframes. Ideally, what you want is all the legs. You want everything to be keyframed at the same time. That's what's causing this weird behavior right now. But when he's done, we're going to put him in the car. And again, remember, you're moving the armature and not the player rig. Okay? Player rig is still where he started. That is the key to this animation. You only want him to look like he's moving. So at this rate, the armature is going to be at 0. Oh no, it's not. It's at 90. Negative 90. There we go. So he's in the car now. He might even be sitting up higher, like so. His legs will be, I believe, at a 90 on the Y. Okay. Other leg, 90 on the Y. We could go in there and grab his knees. And I'm gonna make them 45s. 45. Oh, that didn't work, did it? I'm gonna make them positive on the their x-axis, like so. Come on. All right. And it looks like we need to move the armature back. So let's move him back. Move him back like this. Alright. Then we can fix the arm. Actually, that one doesn't look too bad. But we'll go to his wrist joint here. And neutralize that rotation. We'll take his arm. And hold it like this. Grab the other arm. Kind of mimic that. Like this. 0, I want to be nothing. And this Y, I believe I want nothing. Now the Y is what needs to. Let's put that back. The X is what needs to move. Okay. Let's do that 90 degrees. Okay. Sorry, guys. Negative 90. There we go. This will make it a lot easier for me. And we'll just put this down here like that. This is where he ends up. Okay. Now, if we go to try and scrub this animation, you'll see that it's all kinds of wonky. He's immediately doing his leg stuff and just zip. Okay, and man, it'd be nice to get in a car like that, but it doesn't work that way for us. The reason it's happening is because the leg joints right here they haven't moved since the beginning. So we just need to find that leg joint in the timeline, copy it, and find the spot where it first starts to move, which is right about here. So right at this point here, it still needs to have the same. So we'll control V, and then put that leg back. And we'll do the same for the other leg. Just straighten them back out. Alright, so the edit was to just straighten the legs back out. Took me a while to do because, again, my eyesight is terrible. But at this point, I just went to each leg rotation, clicked on the corresponding dot, Control C, and then Control V, because it'll copy it where the timeline is. And what you have is maybe not a pretty animation, but it serves its purpose. Okay? So, with that done, let's collapse some of these things so we can make sense of stuff. Alright? And go to the car rig, and I'm going to reactivate that door so that I can see how it goes. Let me scrub through this one more time on the player rig. Alright. Yeah, that'll do. So I want you to go to your assets and find enter car, and again, check loop time off. We don't want that. The next thing we need to do is make it so that when you're in that car, you can control the car. So if you've done it right to this point, you'll see that your player is in the car, even though he's actually right here. Okay? And that's where people run into many problems, because their colliders will try to get in the car and just wreak havoc on each other, but no, you want it out here, okay? And what's going to happen, well, let's go into MonoDevelop and I'll show you. So, we're in MonoDevelop. On the car script, we're going to make a little function. Okay. It's going to be public because we're going to need to access it. And we're going to call it open door. Okay. Oh, public void. Sorry. Alright. Open door. And it's going to tell our car when to open its door. To do that, we need access to its animator. So animator. And I'm just going to name it anim. Okay. And then in the start, we're just going to say anim equals get component and make sure you put what type animator in here. Okay. That way it'll just grab whatever animator's on the car. And now you can refer to it by this name. Very handy. So we're going to say anim dot set trigger. Probably should have did this the other way, but this will work. You need parentheses. Then in the parentheses, you need to write the name of your trigger, which for us is just going to be called open driver. Okay? So we'll save that. And we'll go back to Unity. Now, in the animator for the car, in the car rig, we're going to go up to the animator window. If this isn't there for you, just click window, go on down to animator. It should pop up just like this. Show your open door that you made earlier, except it's going to start right there. So we don't want it to just open your door as soon as you start the game. So we're going to right click anywhere in the gray here and just create state, empty, and then we're going to right click again and set as default state. Okay, so now it'll just go here and do nothing because it has no job. Alright. What we're going to do is we're going to make a transition to open door. If our trigger, we got to make our trigger, so let's go up here to parameters, plus, trigger, and let's name it exactly what we put in the other thing, which I believe was open driver. Okay, caps lock is important on this. Or not caps lock, but you know, case sensitive. Once you've done that, you can come down here and say, click this little plus sign on conditions. And since it's the only one, it'll just default to it, but otherwise you would select. So if that trigger is hit, we can go from our default state to our open door state. Okay? Now our door is going to need to close as well. So after the door is open, instead of making a new animation, we're just going to play our open door backwards. Okay? So let's right click in the gray, create state, empty, and let's name this one close driver. Or wait, that was the name of the parameter, so we're just going to call it close door. Okay? And in speed, underneath here, we're going to change it to -1 on the right side here, because we're going to play it backwards instead of making a new animation. Then we're going to right click open door, make transition to close door. We're going to right click close door and make a transition to the entry state. Okay? Now we have a loop. Now to go from open door to closed door, we want to make another trigger. We're going to call that close driver. Okay? And that's going to be the condition to close the door. Go down here. And, oh, we got to hit plus first. Then close door. And for this one, you want to leave exit time on because you want this to finish before it can go here. And this one, you don't need exit time, because you want to be able to just open it whenever you want. And the same with the closed one. When it's closed, you definitely want exit time. You want it to be finished closing before you can restart. You don't need any conditions on that, so just leave that as it is. Alright? That takes care of opening the door. So let's go back to MonoDevelop. And here in our open door, let's make a Boolean that is called open. Okay? That way we can use one function for both things, both actions. So if it's not open, so put an exclamation point. So if open is false, then we want Control X, Control V. We want it to open. Okay? If open is true, else, brackets, then we want to do that same thing. I'll just Control V again. But we're going to put close. Yeah? Close driver. So now when we call this function, it'll do either way. If the door is closed, it'll open it, and if it's open, it'll close it. Alright, it's exactly the behavior we're looking for. So the next thing we're going to do, that takes care of the door part. We need to take care of the player. So we'll go back out to our scene here. Go to our player and click on his animator. Okay, you see your enter car animation. We're going to kind of do the same thing. We don't want it to start animating, so we're going to create state, empty. Okay, and then we're going to right click again and set as default. Then we are going to make our parameters. We need a trigger for enter. Okay. Need a trigger for exit. Alright. Then we're going to right click on the orange one, make a transition to here. Then we need our exit. So let's do, it's just going to be the reverse of the enter for me. You can choose to make a separate entering animation if you would like. So we're going to create state, empty, and I'm going to call this one exit car. And we're just going to play this backwards. -1, Alright. I'm going to transition from right click here, transition, to exit car, transition back to idle. Okay, so making our loop again. So we don't want it to be able to exit car before you enter car. So leave exit time there. And in the conditions, has to be exit. So for this transition, we want no exit time because we want to just enter whenever we want. And when we fire the enter trigger. On the other one, just wait till it's done and go back to idle. No condition necessary. And now we got it set up just like we do the car, which means we also have to go to our script. Meet you in Mono Develop. Alright, so we're going to switch over to the car control, or the player controller, I'm sorry. And just like the car, we're going to create a function, except this one will be an enumerator. Oh, did I spell that wrong? Need enumerator. Okay. The reason we do this is because you can do timed events. Oh, I forgot to name it. We're going to call it, let's call it enter car. Okay. And we can do the same thing we did with the other thing by making a bool and saying let's do get in. Okay, get in. So if we're trying to get in, we'll do one thing. If we're already in, we'll do another. So just like before, we're gonna do if. What is all going on over here? Get rid of those. Alright. So if, I'll make my parentheses, my brackets. So if not get in. I always like to start with the false statements first. So if I don't get in, then we're going to anim. Oh wait, we didn't do that for this one, did we? Nope. So go ahead and set up the animator. Animator. Anim. Just like we did with the car. In the start, anim equals get component. You need the signs here, animator. Gotta know what kind, and some parentheses because it's a function. Our method. And your semicolon. Or colon, sorry. So once that's done, now we can address it. Anim dot set trigger and some parentheses and a colon, and then put this in quotation marks here. What do we call it? Close. No. This is for the guy. Exit car. Okay? Or exit? We call it exit. Sorry. Alright, exit. Otherwise, else, we're going to do the same thing. So let's copy this. Copy and paste is your best friend as a coder. And we'll just change that to enter. Okay, so if we're not trying to get in, we'll exit. And if we are trying to get in, we'll enter. And that is exactly what we want. So at this point, we can kind of test this out. Kind of rudimentary sort of way. Let's go back to our scene. And we'll see if it works. Okay. So sorry, go back to mono develop. We're going to, in the player character, if we can move. Okay, just add it after this transform line here. And put if. Let's do input dot get key down. Okay, and make your parentheses. Key code dot E. I believe E is a popular one on PC. So if we press E, then we want to animate, or we want to start coroutine. That's how you access. Where's my N? That's how you access the I enumerators in Unity. Start coroutine, and in quotation marks, we're just going to put enter car. And then because we have a bool, we need to tell it what that value is. So I guess we should make a bool here. It says public. It doesn't have to be public, but that's okay. Public bool in car. Okay, we're gonna call that false. So we're not gonna be in a car to start the game. And here we would say if in car, or not in car, okay. You're not in your car. Control X, Control V. If you're not in your car, then get in your car. Otherwise, then we're going to copy this, copy, paste. Difference being, this one is going to be true because we want to get in. And this one is going to be false. Just add a comma and write the value. And that's how you do enumerators. And what you do is, you trigger that animation. And do we know how long that was? Let's say, let's go to player rig. That animation was, looks like 1:05. So I'm just going to call that a second. It's a little bit longer than that. But we're going to say yield, return, new, wait for seconds. This is the coolest thing about enumerators. Okay. And we're going to wait for one, and I don't know what that converts to. Let's just say 1.2. 1.2 seconds. And then we're going to change in car here. In car to true. We're now in the car. Whereas this one would be, oh, we also, at that point in time, when we're done waiting, because we've opened the door and he got in, we're going to anim.set trigger. And because we're getting out of the car. We're not getting in. I'm doing that wrong. I apologize again. In car is going to be false. Okay. Now we're going to repeat this. Well, not all of that. These for the bottom one. So Control C. Control V. There you have it. Now, yeah, that's correct. Okay. So at this point, it's pretty much ready to go. You can enter the car, and then we should be able to exit the car. So once he gets in, it'll trigger this to true. Sorry about that cut again. Computer was having issues. Just make sure that if you're not getting in, you're exiting, waiting for that 1.2 seconds, and then in car would be false because we're getting out of the car. And the opposite is true if we're getting in the car. In car would be true. So let's actually test this. We have it. If we press E, our character should get in the car. Alright? Let's test it out. I'll Control S to save. Always save. Come out to Unity. Let's try it out. If we press E, you should get in the car. Huh? They're cool or what? Press E, he gets out of the car. You have some kind of animation. So he's popping out. Why is he doing that? Let's find out. Okay, the reason he's popping out is because if you go to your animator and click on close door, we never told it what motion it's playing backwards, so it doesn't know. So we just need to find enter car and put it in here. Alright, and I'm guessing we did the same for the car. Go to its animator. Yeah, for here for closed door, we want it to just do open door but backwards. Okay? It's on the car rig. Didn't take for some reason, so enter car, play it backwards. Now, let's try that again. Should be able to get in the car, get out of the car. There you go, guys. Alright. Now, we want to open the door at the same time. So, let's do that. First, we got to get out of Unity here, or out of the game. We're going to go to our player, and we need to access his animations, and then right about, let's zoom back in a little bit here, right about when he does this motion here, essentially pulling on the door. When he's pulling on the door of the car, we want to, right here to the left of this gray bar on the timeline is add an event. That's what we want to do. Okay. Now you'll see our event allows us to run a function, but it's got to be something that's in the player. Okay, so let's go back to the code. In the player, we need it to tell the car to run its open door, right? Because the car can open its door. But we need to run this, essentially. So to do that, we're going to go to the player script, go to the top. Right under animator is a good idea. We're going to say car control. Okay. It's S in my case, but it'll be L by the time you get this video. So car control. We're going to name it car script. Okay. And well, for now, since it's the only car in the game, just make it a public, and we're just going to drop it in ourselves. Okay. And then come down here to where where our functions are. And we're just gonna make one called void open door. Parentheses and brackets. I messed that up. Parentheses, okay. And in that, we're going to say car script dot open door. Okay. And we're going to call this one true. And then we're going to select the whole thing and copy it. We're going to paste it. Sorry. We're going to change its name to closed door. And we're going to change this to false. Alright, so now we have both of those. We can open the car door and close it from here. So let's Control S, save that. Come back out here. Again, my computer's kind of slow. Give it a minute to load. And down in our event here on the timeline, you should see a little blue guy. Well, it'll probably be white if it's not selected anymore. But you click that and click open door. Okay. Now keep scrubbing through the animation. So when we get, yeah, I'm just gonna say when it's done. So when it's done, I'm going to click to the left of the bar here and just add another event. And we're going to make it closed door. Okay. Now before we test that, we want to go to the the player script. And where it says car script here, we just want to drop in the car. Just like that. Okay. That way it knows which script to open. At this point, you guys should be ready to see the magic. Try and hit play. Hit E. And hit it again. So it's working a lot slower than I'd like. So let's go back and see why. Alright guys, so two things. First of all, these need to be reversed. I messed that up, my bad. So just go back into the player controller script and change these, swap these true to false, because it needed to know if the door was open. So obviously if we're opening the door, it is not open. Okay. Secondly, when we are asking it to play our animations, it's playing them backwards to get out because we didn't want to make another animation. But it's also hitting these keyframes backwards. So we just got to make another animation and copy it and swap these keyframes. Not hard to do at all. Don't be intimidated. Just come down here, click create new clip, name it exit car. I've done that here. Then you're going to want to make sure you're scrolled out so you can see the whole animation. And then this top gray bar between the light and dark gray, start on the dark gray, left to right, select it all, Control C, go to exit, Control V, it'll lay it all right out for you. I don't think the keyframes will copy over, so you'll have to re-enter those. the events, I mean. So we had one here, and we had one at the end. All you gotta do is click that area on the timeline, and come over here to left, and click that plus sign by the marker to add one. Do the same for the end. And then when you click on it, you're going to want to change them, flip them. So over here in the inspector, you're going to want to make this one a close and the first one an open. Okay, it's just backwards of last time. Then you want to pop up here to animator, and you'll see your new animation about here. I've already corrected this one. So just delete the old one, drag the new one up here, right click from here, make transition, and right click from here, make transition to the orange one. Okay, then go through your connections, make sure they're still good. This one wants exit time yes, and exit for the condition. This one you want exit time yes, no condition. And then you want to click that animation, exit car, and make sure that it's running -1 for speed. We still want it to run backwards. Okay, hence just being able to copy and paste is nice. With that done, you guys should be able to see something cool. Okay, so if I come over here and I get in the car, I get in and out, and it works just fine. Well, relatively speaking. Okay, there's a couple things we got to fix first. First thing is, we got to come down here to where we entered the car, and we're gonna make some things happen. So when we get in the car, well, actually, before we even say we're in the car, let's do this. Let's put it between here. After the animation plays, we're gonna say, this is when we get out of the car, so we're gonna say that the car script dot can drive equals false. Okay, you don't want it to be able to drive after you're out of it. We're gonna say that can move equals true, because we do want to let our player walk around. And then after the fact that we're not in the car anymore is turned to false, we are going to transform dot set parent to null. Okay, I know I'm doing this backwards, but it'll pan out. Down here, I'm gonna do the reverse. After the animation plays, we're going to say we can move. Is it true? Or false, I mean. False. We're going to say that the car script can drive is now true, and that we are in the car. Okay. We're also going to transform dot set set parent. Spelling helps. Transform the set parent. We're going to set that to current car. Okay? Because we want, when you get in the car, to be stuck to the car. So, you know, otherwise the car's going to take off without you, and you're just going to stand there and be lonely. So we got to put that in here. So we're going to come up here, and we're going to say public game object and current car, because we're going to drop that in just like we did the car script. Technically, you could even say now car script equals current car dot get component car control to do the script that way, but I'll just drop them both in, not a problem. So now, when we get in the car, we should stick with it. Okay, but while we're here, before we go back out and check it out, let's set some conditions for this. Okay, so in the if you can move, we're going to make a float distance to car. Okay, and that's just going to be a vector3.distance that is from our transform.position to the current car. Nope. No, we don't want the car. We want the car script dot exit point. Okay. So we want to know how close we are to that place where you start the animation. The exit point's probably going to be red for you guys, so you got to come over to here to the car script and make a public transform exit point. Okay, because you're going to drop it in the inspector. All right. So when you're done with that, pop back over, and right here, when we press E, if we're not in a car, we're going to add another if. If distance to car is less than, I believe it was 3 in this case, because my models are huge. I can't see, so I make everything gigantic. Then we want to get in the car. So Control X, Control V. Okay. And this we're going to actually separate, because I realized that can move. You know, we press E and he'll get in the car, but down here in enter car, it turns can move off, so we can never get out. Alright? So after you do this, distance to car is less than that, then enter the car. Otherwise, don't. You know, it won't let you enter the car. And then we're going to take, leave this alone for a second. Come out of this loop, so right here before the last one, hit enter, and put another if input dot get key down. Can't see what I typed here. Oh, really? Didn't get key down. Sorry about this, guys. Get key down. Keycode.e. So if we can't move and we press E, that's when I want to do this. So that's when I want to get out of the car. So now we can just delete the else part of this statement. Make sure that you got your brackets, 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 and then out, okay? So now, as long as we're close enough to the car, and we're not in it, we can get in the car, okay? And actually, you could even put these two together. But no, just leave it how it is. Then it'll run the inner car. And then if we're in the car, we can't move anymore, so it's going to read this. And we just press E and he'll get out. Okay? Another problem I encountered from experience is that if we're close enough, we want to snap in place. Okay? So we're going to say transform.position is going to equal the car script dot exit point dot transform dot position. And actually it is a transform, so we don't really need to put the transform. Just put exit point dot position. Okay. And we also want the rotation. So transform dot rotation is going to be quaternion. Quaternion.Euler. Okay. And we're just going to put again the car script exit point. No. Because we changed our guy to 90, so we just got to put that in. We just got to put 0.90.0. And that should be good. I think that's it. Let's go see how we did. Come back to Unity. It's gonna update. My computer's gonna be slow for a while here. And wait, I got an error. Let's see what that says. I'm trying to convert a game object to a transform. Let's find out what that is. Current car. Oh, it's because we made it a game object, I believe. So we can just change that to set parent to current car.transform. Okay. So current car.transform. We also up here when we do car script.exit point, it is a transform, but it wants a position here, so we have to do exit point.position. So go ahead and change that. Save it. Let's go back out to Unity. Maybe. Alright, no errors. Let's see how we did. Again, my computer. Oh, it's ready. Okay, so we're gonna press E. He's gonna get in. Ooh. What happened there? The variable. Oh, well, we never set it. So let's go to the car rig and or player rig. He doesn't know where the exit point is. So just drag car rig onto that one, and you guys should be golden. Okay. Snap in. Get in. No. Why are you instantly getting out? So he's instantly getting out because here in when we moved this out, we just forgot to put if he's in the car. So sometimes when you do a get key down, it'll do it between the two frames. So it was reading this and hitting it again, and since he had no condition, he was able to just get out in the middle of getting in, if that makes sense. But just add on this second get key code E, just add and in car, and it should fix it. We're gonna go out and try right now, and I believe you guys have reached the end of my little tutorial, because you can now walk up to your car, get in your car, drive around, get out of your car, go into the store, or whatever you want to do, come back around, get in the car, and go on your merry way. You guys did it. I want to say thank you for your patience. Thanks for your time. It was my first tutorial. It was a rough one, a lot of cuts, edits, but I can only get better, and I appreciate your feedback to help me get there. So, from me to you, just thanks again. I can't say it enough. Have a good one, man, and let me know where those animations go for you. Should open up a whole world of opportunity. Alright? Take it easy, guys.